Good morning, everyone, and welcome to my podcast. My name is Lynette. Today we're going to talk about pray what you mean and mean what you pray. And by that, for example, on the last episode, I believe it was, I shared with you about praying to God to either heal me or take me. And then I ended up in the hospital with a 50% chance to live. So that taught me a lesson about trying to use psychology on God. Don't do it. It doesn't work. Believe me. Expect certain trials when you pray. And that is when I used to go on auditions. I did not want to appear nervous. So I prayed that God would take away my ego. And then I ended up in a wheelchair, and that gave me an absolute array of lessons that taught me not to have an ego. So what I'm saying is that when you pray for something, you don't always just get it in a miraculous way. Sometimes and oftentimes, you get it through the lessons that you learn to obtain that certain thing you're praying for. For an example, at one time many years ago, and it's a standing thing amongst Christians, that don't pray for patience. Because a long time ago, I prayed for patience, and it didn't come to me in the form that I thought it would come to me. I thought I would just all of a sudden have patience one day because I prayed. No, it came to me in a way where I had to learn to develop patience. And I want to tell you, those trials were not fun at all. Learning to develop patience isn't a fun thing. So what I'm saying here is that when we pray for things, sometimes it's a matter of learning what you need to learn to develop or obtain the very thing that you prayed for. So you need to be absolutely 100% sincere when you pray. I now pray when I'm praying for something. I pray that it comes as a gift. I can't tell you for sure. I don't know if that makes a difference. But that's how I've learned to pray, because I don't want to go through trials to learn the lessons that I need to learn to get what I've prayed for. But sometimes you do, so be careful and be 100% honest with your feelings when you pray. Pray like you're praying with a friend, because God knows your heart anyway. He absolutely knows your heart. So you've got to pray with all honesty. Another thing that I've learned about prayer is that we don't have to keep asking for the same thing over and over. It's not about how often we ask. It's about praying it, saying it, trusting it, believing in it. Believe that it's done. Learning to walk 100% in trust. And that applies to so many avenues in life. That when you walk in trust, you don't have to stop and think, oh my, what's going to happen? Or, oh, I need to pray about this. I need to pray about that. But that you can walk in confidence. And as part of being your true self, part of living your best life, is to walk in trust that everything is going to work out. Things are happening in our lives minute by minute. Decisions are being made constantly throughout the day. So you don't need to stop and pray for every little decision. What you need is to develop a good relationship with God and walk in that trust that it's all going to work out. You're going to do the best thing for everybody involved. And when you do that, when you're walking in 100% trust, I believe it gives you the freedom to have fun more deeply, to love more deeply, to live more deeply. I know we've talked about going up to the next level in our life, and I believe this is all part of it. I believe developing trust and having the freedom to walk, not being shackled with fear that something's not going to work out or you need to pray every minute or consistently about the same thing, but that you've prayed it, it's done. Just trust God. And when you develop that absolute trust, no matter what situation you're in, you know you're going to say the right thing. You know everything's going to work out. And that gives you 100% freedom to live. It takes away any doubt, knowing that the outcome, whatever it turns out to be, is going to be just as it should be. It's going to be the right one for you. Whether it's super successful or whether you're learning a lesson. It doesn't matter if you have that trust and you believe that whatever you do, whatever you say is going to be the right thing at the right time. Then you can walk, like I said, free, and you can walk in the present moment, and you can just be you. And that brings me to the next thing, is being authentic. And being authentic is being you, being yourself. And there is only one you. We've talked about this before. There is only one you. There is only one personality. So you can feel confident when you have that absolute trust. You can feel confident in being your authentic self. And your authentic self is the person that's trusting God and that God is working through for you. I know a natural thing is to see someone who's very successful at something, and our instinct is to want to mimic what they've done or what they're doing or how they look, whatever the case may be. But that's not what needs to be out there. You are one of one. And you need to show up just as you are. We don't need cookie cutters of people in this world. We need everybody to be their authentic self, to be an individual, to trust God, to walk in freedom, and to live in the present moment, knowing that the decisions you make, the words you say, how you show up is exactly how it's supposed to be. And what a feeling of freedom that is. And what I mentioned earlier about sometimes our prayers are answered through lessons that we learn. We develop it through walking through the lesson that is going to teach us the very thing we prayed for. And that's why when you know someone and you love them deeply and you want to protect them, you don't want them to be hurt or sad or make a mistake or whatever in any way. And I get that. And you should protect the people you love. However, there are certain things that people need to go through to learn lessons and to be able to function in this life. So don't feel bad when somebody is going through a little something. Just be there to listen. It's just like in life when we're taught, or we've all heard the phrase, say what you mean and mean what you say. The same thing goes for prayer. Be very sincere, very honest when you pray. And remember that God knows your heart. He knows what you're praying. He knows why you're praying. But again, and I can't stress enough, sometimes it comes in the form of lessons. And we've talked about, especially the last episode, certain things we go through in life that aren't all that pleasant are what brought us to be the person that we are today. I know that's a hard pill to swallow sometimes, especially when you're going through it. I think most of our goals would be to reach the next level, to reach the next rung on the ladder, to live our best life, to live our best selves. And I believe there are levels that we don't know yet. But I think learning to walk in trust is part of getting there, because it eliminates us being in our heads so much. Sometimes we're in our heads so much thinking, is this going to work out? Is that going to work out? Should I pray for this? Should I pray for that? But when you walk in trust, then it gives you that freedom to be your best self, to live in the present moment, to not be in your head so much. And that's all part of being the person that you were meant to be, and it's all part of living your best life. It's like when you're with a group of people, the more comfortable you are, the more your personality and sense of humor comes out, because you have no inhibitions holding you back. You can let that sense of humor just flow. You don't have to stop and think about what you're doing. And it's the same thing when you walk in trust. You become a magnet to people around you because you're being who you are. You're being your true self. You are being your authentic self. And there's nothing better than that. And to be honest with you, when somebody feels comfortable enough to be their authentic self, it shows that they're confident in who they are. And there's nothing more magnetizing than confidence. I mean, you can go buy all the wardrobes, all the makeup, anything. But what really makes a person attractive is when they're confident. Being your best self in terms of looks, exercise, whatever, is great, and it's part of it, and you should do it. But it's definitely not the priority. The priority is the inner work that you do. And part of that inner work is taking every step possible to develop, if you don't already have it, to develop the confidence within yourself, the confidence to be you. And I believe the world is screaming for you, because we are all made just a little bit different. And you end up walking in the knowing that who you are is perfection to somebody else. We all know that we can't please everybody, nor should we try, nor should we even want to. But the right people for the right reasons will be drawn to you, because you were made to fulfill that gap, or to be the round peg in the round hole for that certain situation. And it doesn't mean every situation, that's for sure. There's a lot of people in this world. And if it's not our area that we're supposed to fit into, then we move on. Again, I know it's easier said than done to accept certain things, but the more we can try to develop that, the easier life becomes. So in summing all this up, is that the step-by-step goals through all these episodes, starting actually with episode number 1, is when I had the rug pulled out from under me, how life-changing it was and the certain things I went through. But as time went on and as the episodes developed, I learned that there are reasons that we go through certain things, reasons to make us redirect our lives. But then once we find the redirection, it's being our best self in that directed position. And being our best self is being a leader, not a follower, walking in confidence, living in the present moment. These are all steps to living our best lives. And another thing I've been thinking a lot about, and I'll probably save this for another discussion, but it's been so apparent to me the importance of having good people around you, supportive people around you, and then you tend to seek like-minded people. What a comfort, what a joy to be around people that are truly supportive, because you deserve it. And I think we should give it a little more freely to each other. Just remember that the people that are around you, you can give them the gift of support, the gift of just telling someone you're proud of them. I know this is directed toward us in developing to be the best people we can be. But the thing is, it doesn't cost us anything to give somebody else that gift as well. With that being said, I thank you for listening. I hope you all have a great Thanksgiving, and I'll talk to you next week. Bye-bye.